In 1899, the streets of New York City echoed with the voices of newsies, peddling the newspapers of Joseph Pulitzer, William Randolph Hearst, and other giants of the newspaper world. On every corner you saw them carrying the banner, bringing you the news for a penny a peg. Poor orphans and runaways, the newsies were a ragged army without a leader. Until one day, all that changed.
In 1899, the New York World and Journal raised the price for newsboys to buy newspapers. The price went up from 50 cents per 100 papers to 60 cents per 100 papers. This price adjustment caused the newsboys to go on strike and created a conflict. This strike forced Pulitzer and Hearst to compromise so that the newsboys would go back to work. This strike paved the way for other newsboys to strike for equal rights. The Newsboys' strike of 1899 happened after the Spanish-American War ended and the prices for the newsboys went down. That is when Joseph Pulitzer and William Hearst decided to raise the newspaper price for the newsboys to buy their newspapers. The newsboys were not happy, so they went on strike and created the conflict. Joseph Pulitzer probably thought that the newsboys weren't any trouble for him and that they would just deal with the new price. But it turns out that the newsboys shut down the Brooklyn Bridge for the duration of their strike. 13-year-old Louis Ballette, more known by his street name, Kid Blink, was the one who encouraged the newsboys to fight and strike. Different newspaper companies decided to take advantage of the fact that the World and Evening Journal were not making any money. So, they decided that they would put the newsboys' strike in their newspapers so that they could be the ones making more money. Kid Blink gave a speech to the newsboys and told them that they should not give up and that if they were strong, they would win. Newsboys had different rallies. Their favorite place of meeting was Irving Hall. 500 newsboys came to a rally at Irving Hall. Brooklyn Bridge was another place where they met, since there was no foot traffic and they had it all to themselves. The newsboys had stopped the World and Evening Journal from getting any money. Now, Pulitzer and Hearst were making no money when their plan was to make more money. The newsboys kept on striking and kept on stopping the newspaper circulation. The newsboys didn't just sell newspapers, some shined shoes just so that they could get more money. The newsboys had created the biggest child labor strike ever in history, and it finally ended when Joseph Pulitzer and William Hearst decided to compromise by letting the newsboys bring back any of the newspapers that they didn't sell. They could get their money back, almost like a refund. With the newsboys' persisting effort, they succeeded in achieving what they wanted, in getting equal rights. Their first effort encouraged other newsboys later on to rise up and go into equal rights. The news quickly spread about the New York strike. Pittsburgh became a particular hotspot for strikes by children. Within 1 week after the Newsies took on Pulitzer and Hearst, Pittsburgh boys went on strike against 2 messenger services and a mill that manufactured chains. The potential gains for these young workers were small compared to the risks they faced. For instance, the 20 Pittsburgh boys who struck the chain works owned by James McKay wanted their pay raised from 60 cents to 65 cents a day. The boys didn't get their extra nickel. They got manhandled by a detachment of police who stopped them from demonstrating outside the mill at 29th Street and Liberty Avenue. The New York newsboys, many of whom made their living without parental support, also risked their jobs for pennies a day. But pennies were precious in 1899. The Newsboys' strike of 1899 was the inspiration others needed to have confidence to do it themselves. The strike was powerful, important, and beneficial to everyone. They started something in the US that would change how children worked from now on.